Trulli then, I hope he hasn't, for Coulthard's sake, settled into one of his sort of long-haul afternoons, because he tends to be a great qualifier and just nothing more than a solid racer. There between them, 17 seconds away from race leader.
That's an interesting point you make there. We have seen Jarno Trulli just get into a bit of a groove, and a lot of people accuse him of falling asleep in the middle of races. Not literally, obviously, but just not having his brain engaged particularly. So clearly you're of the view that Renault should have got rid of Trulli and kept Button, are you?
I think I did say that in my newspaper column, yeah, no doubt about that. But it's a contractual situation too. I mean, if Trulli's not out of contract, if he's got to fix one for next year, and Button was out of contract, then I guess it's a pretty easy decision, isn't it? If you're intent on putting Fernando Alonso in your team.
Jarno Trulli having another year at Renault next year with Fernando Alonso alongside him, and Jenson Button, as was announced last Monday, moving to the BAR team. And Jarno Trulli still sick. Terrific scrap going on here between the two Saubers of Massa and Heidfeld. Massa running 10th, Heidfeld down to 11th place, and they're passing and repassing each other. Once again, Martin, a fantastic battle here in this midfield group between sort of 7th and 15th place. It's been so close both in qualifying and the race, hasn't it?
It has indeed, and look how close it is. Trulli then, really with Coulthard hot on his tail, but Fisichella, Panis and co are really also in close company and in with a shot. If Coulthard has a go at Trulli and it's fumbled in any way, or they trip over each other, they will just be passed by the train. This is a slow-mo replay. Rubens Barrichello locking that ever unloaded inside front tyre. Does he have to run particularly wide? He just about gets away with that one, doesn't he? So Trulli then with Coulthard. Coulthard needs to spring that now. Otherwise, a little bit later on in the race, he may pay a heavy penalty. Those cars behind him are on the Bridgestones, and you have to say they're the favoured tyre today, James.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be, don't they? The pace of this gaggle is over a second a lap slower than Kimi Raikkonen's pace. Although having said that, Raikkonen himself on his last lap, he's just crossed the line. His pace has dropped off as well, and I don't know if the track is changing or perhaps the Michelin tyres are going through some sort of phase, because the front three are certainly breaking away at quite a rate of knots now from Raikkonen and Montoya, and then there's a bit of a gap, and then Trulli.
What on earth's going on with the different pace through the field is so difficult to explain. And look, Coulthard then, has he got past? Yes, indeed he has. Coulthard has passed Trulli somewhere. So, important move for him. And now...
Great news, though, for David Coulthard. Having got past Jarno Trulli, he's certainly going to be able to up the pace a little bit. And that is a very important move for the McLaren driver. And
sorry, but there's a lot of action going on in the middle of the field we're just not seeing, because Massa has also got in there and passed Fisichella. Massa 9, Fisichella 10, Heidfeld 11th. Louise.
To update you, just a word to update you on the situation with Jenson Button. We saw him drop right down the field to 19th place earlier on. He has picked up the pace a bit. He's lapping in the 122s. He had a loss of power, possibly connected to the traction control system, but the team have been punching numbers in the computer in the back of the garage to see if they can get it going again and correct the problem via the two-way telemetry system. And he does seem to have picked up the pace a bit.
Thank you for that, Louise. And also I notice now Panis has passed Jarno Trulli. So Trulli back down to 8th position and just falling through the field. And is he going to lose another spot to Massa? No, he manages somehow to hold him off. So Massa then, Fisichella has slipped back. So lots of action going on there. I hope we can see a bit more of that anytime soon.
Well, Renault boss Flavio Briatore said last night that he reckons the Renault engine is giving away 70 horsepower to its main rivals at the front of the field. And certainly today it does seem to be struggling a little bit for straight line speed. Trulli, Massa, Fisichella, Heidfeld, all together, that is the battle for 8th place, and it's an absolute humdinger. And now Eddie Irvine has got in front of Jenson Button for 18th place. You can see Button falling back all the time.
Yes, he is. I think Button repassed Irvine when Irvine spun for the second time, but sad to say, we've got two Brits at the back there fighting for not quite last place, because Frenzen's start line problem, but he's still running around in 20th, but it's for 18th and 19th. But this is a fabulous scrap going on there. Look at that. It's all for position. The whole chain of them. Right back to who's on the end of it. McNish is on the end of it in 15th place. So that is from 8th to 15th.
That's great stuff here on lap 15. Alan McNish starting this race the first time this season. He out-qualified his teammate Mika Salo, completely outperformed him all weekend, and there's just a vaguest possibility that McNish might hold on to his drivers. Fisichella takes a look at Massa, who takes a look at Trulli, down the inside into the hairpin, and this is what this section was designed for. We're now on the rail cam, fantastic view as the camera's travelling at 120 kilometres an hour, gives you an idea of how fast the cars are going. Fisichella smells blood now, he knows that he can get past Jarno Trulli. Not an awful lot of love lost between these two, because let's not forget, it was Trulli that replaced Fisichella in the Renault squad for this season, and Fisichella certainly pretty irked about that while we're enjoying this scrap as well.
Yes, it was a good move from Massa. Luckily, there was enough grip up the inside somehow to turn in. Kept his head on the exit, got the car straight very early on. He got good traction out of the corner. Here he goes, just takes a big lunge. Trulli with a wise head on him manages, and Trulli slips down another place then as Fisichella moves through. Trulli back down to 10th place now, and Villeneuve also right in there, looking to be the next one to depose Jarno Trulli.
Fantastic stuff here at Hockenheim. Look at the three abreast, down to the hairpin. Oh, and the last of the late breakers, Takuma Sato, just as Villeneuve was having a think about it. Sato gets Villeneuve. Wonderful stuff here. And this is the battle for 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Sato now up into 12th place. Mark Webber in the Minardi is even on the tail of this lot as well. Just shows you how much Trulli. Look at Webber having a look at Salo. Oh my goodness, and Webber loses a place to Salo. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Webber was trying to have a nibble at McNish, but you wonder if Jarno Trulli's got the same problem as Jenson Button, because he's falling back so quickly now. But look, I'm delighted to tell you the lead is now down to 3.5 seconds. Somehow or other, the Michelins have really come on strong. They're getting ready for a pit stop for one of the two ailing Renaults, but Michael Schumacher has not got it all his own way at the moment. It's Ralph who's the fastest man on the track, and dragging Barrichello nicely along with him too, back towards your race leader.
Indeed, just under 5 seconds now separating Michael Schumacher in first place and third place Rubens Barrichello, as into the pits comes the Renault, we believe, of Jarno Trulli. Yes, it is, into the pits. And also going very quickly at the moment is Juan Montoya. He's 14 seconds off the tail of third place man Rubens Barrichello. So Montoya's had a very slow start to this German Grand Prix. He's dropped almost a second a lap in the early stages, but now he's beginning to turn up the wick. Possibly the Michelins are coming into the zone. Certainly the track temperature at 39 degrees now is absolutely the hottest we have had all weekend, and certainly during this race. And we have got a race on our hands at the front as well as in the middle. Ralf Schumacher sets a new fastest lap, now just 3.4 seconds behind his brother.
And look at this action now then, as a replay of Trulli losing one of his earlier positions. Ted is down in the pits.
Martin, I'm pretty sure we can be certain, in fact, that the leaders are on 2 stops. 3 stops is actually quicker, but only about by 5 seconds. So the 2 stoppers will be first in at about lap 24.